Hi everyone, I'm Carla Macklin with Allium Adaptive Apparel. We have recently become aware of the need in our community for some home sewn masks. They're running out of protective equipment, including surgical masks. So we have translated our workroom into a coronavirus mask sewing facility. And I want to show you today what I've been making for a clinic in our local community. I've tried a couple different masks here to see what works the best. The first version I used is a typical mask pattern that you have probably seen. When it is put on, it has quite a bit of space without any kind of insert of a metal piece there to hug the nose. So we felt like this one wasn't ideal because it allowed particles to go over the nose and down into the mouth and nose. This is another pattern that I posted on the site. It was created to better hug the top part of the nose. It stays a little bit closer to the cheeks there. So this is what we're making today, this style of mask. And you'll find the pattern on our site, a link to it. I've cut out 4 pieces of this pattern. You'll notice in my instructions that the pattern piece does not come with seam allowance, so I've added 1/4 of an inch of seam allowance on all the edges and have already sewn the front seams together of both of 2 of these pieces so that I have a front of the mask and an outside of the mask and an inside of the mask. So once that is sewn 1/4 of an inch along this curved edge, I line them up right sides together and we'll stitch around them. So I've got the seams aligned at the top of the nose, and I'm going to start, once I got that pinned, from the bottom of the mask because it's easier to leave an opening for turning to the right side along a straight edge rather than a curved edge. So I'm using this straight edge along the bottom of the mask as the opening. So after I align the bottom seam, I'll position this in front of the presser foot and just maybe 1/2 an inch on this side of this seam, I'll start sewing the mask together, 1/4 of an inch of seam allowance. Now before I get to the edge of this corner, I need to insert the elastic. I've got a 1/4 inch elastic here. I'm going to angle it at 45 degrees from this corner and sandwich it between the outer and inner layers and continue to the corner here. And what I'm going to do is back stitch a little bit over this, put an extra stitch in here so that it holds the elastic better within the corner so that it doesn't pull out when it's worn. And then I can go sew towards the next corner, but before I do, I want to peek inside and make sure it's not twisted because we don't want to irritate the wearer by having a twist in the elastic. So after I've got that position, I go to this next corner. Again, I'm going to put like an extra stitch in there and then finish sewing 1/4 of an inch around the entire mask. And now I'm coming to the 3rd corner where I'm going to put that second piece of elastic, sandwiching it in there at a 45-degree angle and tacking it in just as before. Final corner, and after I finish the 4th and final corner where I've got the elastic all secure in there, I'm going to leave about a 2 to 2.5 inch gap in the opening. I want to make sure I turn the corner and sew a few stitches to make it easier to capture this edge in when I top stitch. So this is where I will turn the mask to the right side, but before I do that, I'm going to clip all 4 corners and about 1/8 of an inch from the point at which the stitching turns. And I'm also going to trim a little bit of the seam allowance from the top of the nose, just to decrease the bulk when it's turned to the right side. So now I'm ready to turn it. And you'll see that the elastic is all positioned in the correct manner. And after I pull out the corners and the nose, I need to just finger press it, and then I'll press it on the with an iron to get a real crisp edge all the way around. Now that I have it pressed, I want to top stitch about 1/8 of an inch all the way around the mask so it secures the elastic a little bit more, and it also closes this opening that I turned it through. So I'll start at one of my corners and go all the way around. And that's it. That's the final mask. It's ready to be worn. If you have any tips on how we can make this better, or you're finding a better way to sew, send us a message, let us know, share the info, and good luck to you. Stay safe, stay well.